Be the creditor I am invoking at this point, and I will ask you judge, or I will ask the clerk of court to settle, set off, or to dissolve. You more or less want to settle the charges, to settle the charges, or to set off the charges. And that should be all it takes. You can do another thing, and you can go ahead and do paperwork to become the owner of your business. Because ever since you're born, you've never went back and claimed it. So they have created that business so they can do what they want to with it. That's spiritually and physically. Now, if you've went out there and you've robbed somebody, or you've hit a woman or something like that, I'm sorry. I hope they do throw you in prison. And if you're a drunk driver, I know that people have made mistakes. In other words, if you're plastered drunk and you can't even hardly walk and you're trying to get in the car and drive, not just had a couple beers, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you leave from somewhere, you know you're not drunk and you get pulled over and the alcohol is really fresh on your breath. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting plastered drunk and hopping in a car and not caring about nobody else, getting in a wreck and killing nobody. If you're doing crazy shit like that, then I'm sorry, that ain't who I'm talking to. I'm talking people that are being oppressed and being tricked and manipulated to try to get money off of you. I want to talk about taxes. There's two different kinds of taxes. There's direct tax and indirect tax. Indirect tax is legal and lawful. Direct tax is illegal and unlawful. I've spent almost 3 years now trying my best with everything that I've got to trying to find a law that says anybody has the right to tax someone's wages. There is none. We're supposed to have fair trade, energy for this. What that money is going to is going down to pay the national debt and the interest that we owe the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve is taking our tax money and playing monopoly, more or less, with other countries. They'll loan other countries money and with interest and ask them to pay it back. And they never ask, and they don't have to ask us. They do what they want to do with our money. And I've talked to officers, I've talked to magistrates, lawyers, and more or less what they say is that, what did Jesus Christ say? And I didn't expect them to say something like that. To give Caesar what's Caesar's, and to give to God what's God's. Well, I have always took that as the reason he says give Caesar what's Caesar's first, and then give God what's God's, is because everything is God's. What is Caesar's? What is the government's? What do they own that does not belong to Yahweh? Nothing. We're supposed to obey man's law, but also we're supposed to use wisdom. And just because we're Christians doesn't mean we can be railroaded and run over and my tax money go to war and killing innocent children and women overseas. That's one of the main things that bothered me, that started me on this path. Is not that I was a hippie, but at the time I liked to smoke herb a little bit, and I was laid back, and I was on the spiritual journey. I stopped smoking weed and all that stuff, and I wanted to make a change in the world, and I got this thing, and I started becoming empowered. How's it going? And after I started walking in my power, there wasn't much they could do. And they continued to try, and try, but that's something that's very important to our culture and to our children. If we just keep, if you throw a crab or something in a boiling water and you slowly turn that water up and slowly turn it up and slowly turn it up, eventually the water's going to be boiling and it'll be dead. And it feels like almost what our government's doing. They keep passing arbitrary law over and over again. It's just like when they created our government, our founding fathers. The government didn't have as much power as they wanted. So they started creating private industry that will look like government. But as soon as they can get you to contract with them, you're bound by that contract. And from the money, Federal Reserve notes are supposed to be made for government interaction. And they, in a way, have created a system to where they can strip you of your citizenship and you can't buy, sell, do nothing. And that's called civil death. And that's what they're doing to a lot of people. They want to get you in court, choose to represent yourself, and lose your citizenship. How I know that is one of my good friends is a lawyer. And I called him one day and I asked him about all that stuff, and he said, "Please, buddy, don't do that. Please, man, don't do that." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because you'll lose your citizenship." Because I asked him, I said, "Why won't I just go into court and do the sovereignty thing, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Please don't do that. You'll lose your citizenship." And I'm like, what is he talking about? How can you lose your citizenship? Anyway, I'm going to try to get off here. God, it's such a beautiful day.